The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com. Hello and welcome to the latest live episode of Wrestling with Johners, episode 320, and getting ever closer to our 5-year anniversary celebrations, which is just around the corner of the month of November. But today I've got an awesome guest for a Monday evening, none other than the owner, the founder, the promoter, and one of the coaches at British Kingdom Professional Wrestling, Dave Sharp. Dave, great to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, great to be on. Thanks for having me. I'm doing really well, thanks.
Awesome.
Really well.
And for the next hour and 15, however long we go, we're going to be talking to Dave all about Brit King Pro. If you didn't know, he was also the man behind the much beloved 4FW. So we'll have a little look back, a fond look back, a trip down memory lane and talk a bit about 4FW towards the end there. But it's all about Brit King Pro for the next hour and 15 or however long we go. But just a quick reminder before we get stuck into our conversation with Dave about some of our recent guests that we've had on Wrestling with Johners, just to entice you to press subscribe and like wherever you're watching this. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But Nathan Angel came onto the show about a month and a half ago. Really fun guest. I think he's only 19 years old. One of the future prospects of British professional wrestling. Just last month, we had the current Rev Pro undisputed British heavyweight champion, Michael Oku, on the show. Please go and check that out. A really fun conversation with Michael. Just a few weeks ago, we spoke to Francesca Oliver, renowned ring announcer for Southwest Wrestling and Rev Pro, and spoke about a fantastic career as a ring announcer across the UK. Couple of weeks ago, we had Simon Quest on the show doing some wonderful things for Cornish Pro Wrestling and United Wrestling and so many more places. Last week, my most recent live interview was with the ULT Josh Spicer, a really fun conversation with Josh. And of course, this past Friday, part 1 of episode 6 of my Legends Masterclass interviews with Mal Sanders dropped, and part 2 with Mal will be dropping this coming Friday. Next week, I've got 2 interviews, Monday and Thursday. Monday, I've got Kamikaze coming onto the show. That'll be a really fun conversation. Trained by the Hearts, trained by Roddy Piper, trained by Lance Storm. That's going to be a really fun conversation with Kamikaze. And somebody that Dave might know, next Thursday, I've got the Stallion, Chris Bronson, coming onto the show. I'm sure Chris will be popping in during the conversation or coming into the conversation at points during the conversation with Dave. But Dave, great to have you on the show. And I know you don't do many of these things, so I really appreciate you doing this. But doing my research, Dave, it's been over 3 years, maybe 3.5 years since we had a show run by yourself. Of course, I alluded to it earlier, 4FW, but we're just weeks away
February,
now.
I think.
Yeah, we're just weeks away from the debut of Brit King Pro, British Kingdom Professional Wrestling. On a personal level, Dave, how does it feel to be running shows again?
That's actually why I'm running these shows in October, just to bed myself back into it before doing the shows in January. So, because nearly 4 years off is a long time.
It is.
Rather than just diving back into it with, again, I suppose, Dragon Gate guys over, run a couple of shows just to bed myself in and make sure I don't have a heart attack.
Yeah, sensible move. But like I said, you've said it's 3.5 years since you last ran a show. What kind of prompted you to return into running shows, becoming a promoter again? What was that kind of spark that lit the flame then, Dave?
I suppose for the last 6 months before announcing, I had lots of people asking if I'm going to be running again, because I think quite a lot of people missed the shows that we put on.
Yeah.
Not just the fans, but actually wrestlers as well. So, and I said I'd only do it if Benham and Sammy would come on board with me, just because of the amount of stress that's involved with promoting. And I want to try and get those two involved in that side of it. I suppose they're the most reliable guys that were around me. So yeah, I wouldn't have done it unless those two were willing to come on board with me. So
Yeah, absolutely. And we're less than 3 weeks away from your first show, October the 7th. We'll talk in detail about that show very soon, but less than 3 weeks away, Dave. Where's your head at regarding the show that's 3 weeks away, and then you got another one the week after? Where's your head at the moment?
I suppose it's the stress of, because obviously the world's moved on a little bit since 2020. There's not many shops open compared to when I was last, because I like to put posters out in shops,
Yeah.
as well as advertising online. But even went out this Friday, just gone, and the amount of shops that are closed, it might be a little bit harder to rely just on posters. And this one, again, doing these kind of things on your show, because I suppose, again, the world's moved on. So there's other avenues that I have to reach out to I probably previously didn't do, which might have held us back a little bit as well. So
you always did
things.
well with attendance, though, Dave. Your shows are always well attended.
Yeah, again, most of it was posters promoting locally, but again, I think that's going to be a little bit harder with the amount of shops that have shut since 2020.
Yeah,
and so it might be a little bit more difficult this time doing it just promoting locally, and I have to actually push the online stuff and again do things like this that I previously didn't do.
Absolutely. Well, we'll do our very best to get the word out there and to promote your up and coming shows. But I mean, I was checking some of your social pages and Brit King Pro social pages, and there was one or two comments from fans asking, why didn't you decide to bring 4FW back? It had 16-year history and did exceptionally well. Some of the biggest names from all over the world came and supported your show and worked your show. We'll talk more about 4FW later, but I see Brit King Pro as a bit of an evolution or the next step of what 4FW would have become. But what's your rationale behind not bringing back 4FW and starting with an entirely different brand?
Because I've got Sammy and Benham on board, I sort of wanted a fresh start with it. And I think people underestimate how respected British wrestling is. Any talent you're bringing in, you find that they actually want to come over here. And I suppose I was always told that you don't need British in your name because you're from Britain. You don't need that. But I think if you're trying to appeal to markets outside of just Britain, I think that can appeal to fans from, say, Japan or America, knowing that just from having British Kingdom in the name, knowing where the product's coming from, and potentially getting more eyes on a product, not just from in this country. Yeah. So that was the idea behind it. Plus having Benham and Sammy on board, I didn't want to just go back to 4FW. I wanted to try and build this together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And your first show, actually less than 3 weeks away now, is going to be this one here, Saturday, the 7th of October, from Gloucester. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's taking place in the Churchdown Community Centre in Gloucester. And I think that's a venue you've used before previously, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, we've run there multiple times. I think quite early on as well, maybe 2008, 2009, we first ran it. But yeah, and I think we've been back there a couple of times, like maybe 2013 sort of time as well. Yeah. So it's a really nice venue, really nice.
And you felt that was the ideal venue to debut Brit King Pro?
Yeah, I think it's a venue we could build, not just even if the first one doesn't go as well as it might have if I'd continued running 4FW. But it's definitely a venue that I feel can be built, and again, presentation-wise, looks really nice. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I was kind of looking back through my research, I think a lot of people wrongly assume that 4FW was just a Swindon promotion, but you really did branch out to Gloucester and Bristol and Portishead, and you really were kind of more of a regional promotion, if anything.
Yeah, I think it's because we only brought names in for Swindon, but we actually did for Portishead and Bristol as well. But I suppose we had the setup in Swindon as well. Had a really good photographer who put the content out there.
Yeah.
Where maybe the other ones are a bit more low key. Didn't really bring in all the razzmatazz for the shows, I suppose. And so I suppose the focus was on Swin, but that was more again for trainees coming through. I wanted them to work hard on those other shows and see that, like, where they could get to for the next stage before they could potentially go on to the next step.
Yeah.
So doing these smaller shows with less of a setup, and then into Swindon with like the bigger setup, and kind of make you feel a bit more of a star. I suppose ready for if they decide to take that next step to try and get to the bigger companies or whatever.
Yeah, totally get it. Totally get it. I'm just going to bring up that show poster again because one thing that really struck me, you've got 3 words on there in particular that appear to be a bit of a slogan for British Kingdom professional wrestling going forward: pure pro wrestling. Why did you kind of decide to kind of have those 3 words in particular? It appears to be a bit of a slogan going forward, Dave.
Yeah, I just think it's missing. It really is missing. I think people tend to either be a character or they tend to just do high spot matches. But I think the actual wrestling aspect is missing, and I think that's something we work on in training. That's something that we present with our shows, and I think it's another way of being able to get fans' eyes on the product, because
Absolutely.
it is something that we're going to present. So.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And let's talk a bit about the first show then. I alluded to it just a moment ago, from Gloucester, October the 7th. And it's going to be based around a championship tournament, isn't it? And I think initially there's going to be 4 quarterfinal matches. I'm assuming 2 semi-final and then a final match. So 7 or 8 matches in total on the night. And we have 3 matches that have been previously announced, 3 quarterfinal matches. And let's talk about them now, Dave, and the participants and what sort of a match we're likely to get between the individual matches here. But the first one I'm going to flash up is Jay Joshua and Sami Tahin. Obviously, Sammy, you mentioned him. He's one of the coaches at Brit King Pro Dojo. Good friend of yours and very loyal to 4FW back in the day. Former 4FW heavyweight champion as well. Jay Joshua, I don't think performed for 4FW unless I'm mistaken. But these 2 kind of big heavyweights, striking wrestlers, they should put on a hell of a performance in that quarterfinal match, shouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's coming back. There's a lot of new wrestlers that I haven't seen before. Sammy has been training at New Wave while we wasn't doing anything, and he always mentioned Jay Joshua and Nadia.
Yeah.
Always mentioned Jay Joshua, so I had a look at some of his stuff, and I think the stuff he does and the way Sammy works, I think it'd be really good, really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hard hitting heavyweight wrestling. So.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of Jay Joshua, and I think he carries that sort of wrestling style that you enjoy. You mentioned, pure pro wrestling, and he can mix it up in various styles, Jay Joshua. And he's a striker, he's a submission wrestler, he's a typical heavyweight wrestler. So, that's going to be a fantastic match for sure. Another quarterfinal match taking place on October the 7th from Gloucester is this one here. Tiger Ali versus Lee Hunter. And of course, Tiger Ali, I think a former 3-time 4FW heavyweight champion, a former 3-time junior 4FW junior heavyweight champion, and a former tag team champion as well. He's won titles in Japan. Lee Hunter, renowned tag team wrestler, formerly with his brother as well, but really doing some fantastic stuff in his solo work. But Tiger versus Lee, that's going to be a phenomenal match, isn't it?
Yeah, Lee Hunter's probably up there with, I'd say, in the top 5 baby faces in the UK. Like, phenomenal worker. That's tag team stuff, and his single stuff is really, really, really good. Mixing in with, I think they've done a lot of tag work against each other. Because Tiger Ali was in the Three Kings, Lee Hunter was tagging his brother, and he'd always have one of the other guys in a 6-man tag. But I don't think we ever did them in a singles match. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Could be a
Really
first-time
look forward
encounter. And then the next quarterfinal match is former 4FW heavyweight champion, the Stallion Chris Bronson, against another former 4FW heavyweight champion and tag team champion, the English Lion, Eddie Ryan. Let's be honest, Dave, two of the very best performers, workers, pro wrestlers in the UK right now. Eddie's really kind of built a legacy for himself around the UK. And of course, he's just opened the Lion's Den training school down in Plymouth. But the Stallion, similar to Eddie, he's got a long-standing history with yourself, 4FW, and now with Brit King Pro. I've got to kind of know both of these two very well, working for Southwest Wrestling. And this is kind of a match that, you know, could really be a final match, let alone a quarterfinal match. Tell us about this match.
Both of them actually come through the school, the 4FW training school. But they know how I work, what I kind of want, and just seeing them grow. I think even 4 years ago, if they had worked a match, it'd be really good. So 4 years on from when I previously ran, I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So, they both know what I'm after. They both think the same sort of ways as I do in regards to professional wrestling. So it's definitely not a match to be underestimated. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I would say that all three of those quarterfinal matches are worthy kind of final matches for sure. So it's going to be a shame for there to be a loser in any of those. But and of course, this is going to be a tournament setup. So there will be a fourth quarterfinal, which you'll, I'm sure, announce on your socials in the coming days and weeks. And then that will kind of narrow down to two semi-finals and a final all in the same night. So quite an exciting evening, really.
The final actually take place in Swindon. So we do the semi-finals in Bristol the week after.
Yeah.
And then the finals will be we're holding our first show in 2024 in Swindon.
I'm glad you cleared that up. That up. And that would make sense with Swindon being the spiritual kind of hometown of 4FW. And I'm sure it's going to have some many great shows for Brit King Pro going forward. The following week, so you're going to be a busy guy in October, but the following week, you've actually got this one here, October the 14th from Bristol, Emerson Green, and this is going to be a phenomenal show. Now, I think you mentioned that the quarterfinal match, the semi-final matches are going to take place on the same show. There you go. But I think one match that's already been announced is this one here. Now, Jack Selstrom doing amazing things on the UK Indies. Formerly WWE NXT UK, and of course Lee Hunter. These two similar kind of stature, similar size, both very, very experienced workers, and that's going to be a great match, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We used Jack previous because we was going to work with All Japan Pro Wrestling before Aoki passed away. We was actually set to have talent over from them, and then we send talent over to All Japan. And Jack was one of the ones we was looking at because we was using him as, I think he was Jack Stars previously. And so the plan was to send like him and Tiger Ali over to All Japan. But I think he was on our last show. I can't remember. But again, he's another talent that is, since being in NXT, really, really flies, especially with that new character. He stands out. He stands out from the crowd. Absolutely. And that with his in-ring work, plus Lee Hunter, it's going to be a really good match.
It really, really is. So that's the two shows that we have to look forward to in just 3 and 4 weeks' time, the 7th and the 14th of October. And a great way to kick things off. And like you say, just to kind of bed yourself in, kind of get yourself used to running shows again. Like I say, that it should be out. And thank you for kind of clarifying the kind of the tournament concept. So obviously for the first show, there will be additional kind of featured matches. And the semi-finals will take place. Did you say on the 14th of October, some of the semi-finals?
Yeah, it'll be some of the semi-finals, and then we'll hold the finals in Swindon for our first show in 2024.
There we go. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I know that there's been a lot of buzz regarding Brit King Pro and the partnership and the relationship that you've struck up and that you announced recently on your socials with Dragon Gate Pro. And a fantastic accomplishment, a great promotion to be aligned with, Dave. Tell us a little bit about that partnership, how it all came about.
Again, over the years, we've had so many people come through our training school. But not just people from the UK. We've had people come from all over Europe. There was a lad that come from China. He runs the Hong Kong Wrestling Federation. I think he still runs it. And he's a contact we made years ago. And as soon as I said I was coming back, he reached out to me straight away. He said, look, I work in the Dragon Gate office. We'd love to do business with what we're starting up. Because he knows how we work. He's seen the guys we've brought over, how we look after them, how we treat them. So he instantly reached out to me. So, and it's obviously something I'm going to be interested in, just from their talent, from everything they've done. Phenomenal promotion, and it'd be good to do business with them. And
a perfect fit for what you're trying to achieve with Brit King Pro. And like I say, 4FW had a similar mindset where kind of it is very much modeled on kind of pure wrestling, professional wrestling, had a lot of Japanese influences. And I think Brit King Pro is going to be very much in that same vein.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not saying we don't cater for the other things within professional wrestling. It's just, I think, to present the product in a way where it's not just a ring in a hall. There's a bit of effort behind it. So I want the wrestling to present itself where believability, people believe again. It's not just a bunch of stuff happening. I want people to believe. And then with the setup around it, I think I think there's something missing. I think we can add something. I think we added something previously, but I think there was just a disconnect somewhere. Because everyone who attended, whether it be for the fans or all the wrestlers, they all absolutely loved it. So there was just a disconnect somewhere, taking it to that next step. You know, when there was like that boom in British wrestling, we sort of we were still doing really, really good stuff, but we didn't quite take that step. But I think there's a gap there where maybe what we were doing previously can stand out this time around.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the Dragon Gate talent that you've already announced for 2024, a part of this very, very exciting partnership we have with Dragon Gate Pro Wrestling. And we're going to flash up some pictures here. But obviously, you've got Maduka Kikuta. Apologies if I butchered that. Of course, you've got Dragon Kid and Shun Skywalker. Tell us a bit about these three talents, these three acquisitions, and these three Dragon Gate Pro wrestlers. Honestly, big names over in Dragon Gate. And for any of my English or maybe North American viewers that are watching this that aren't too familiar with those three, enlighten us, Dave. Tell us a bit about those three.
Like Shun Skywalker is a really good wrestler, but with his character over the last year, I'd say, honestly, he's so unique. It's such a unique talent to have over. I can't wait to present him on shows over in the UK. But he offers something different that nobody else is doing. Like a really unique character.
An awesome look as well.
Yeah. Just everything about him. If you watched any of his like recent heel work,
I've caught glimpses in preparation for this, but I haven't taken a deep dive into any of his work recently.
I can't wait to present him in this country, because honestly, his character work is second to none, and he really stands out, really unique. Yeah.
What about some of the others? Dragon Kid.
Dragon Kid speaks for himself. Phenomenal talent. He's been over to the UK a few times. I actually helped out on the Dragon Gate shows when they come over for the first time, and he speaks for himself. How good he is, and it'd be good to have. I think he hasn't been over in about maybe 10 years, maybe.
And he's a bit of a
So
veteran of the Japanese scene as well,
yeah, yeah,
isn't
yeah.
he?
And he's if you see the way he moves around, you wouldn't believe his age. Honestly, he moves around like he's 21, and he's actually one of the older guys at Dragon Gate.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
You wouldn't know it. And talk about Madoka Kikuta, an individual that
Um,
I'm not too familiar with, and somebody that's going to take Brit King Pro by storm, I'm sure.
yeah, absolutely. I think because he made his debut during that period of where we were sort of going into lockdown, and then so after they were having shows with no fans and stuff like that. So it was hard to, I suppose, to get the exposure that he might have got previously. But again, if you watch his work, it's all a lot of his work's built around his having a big ass. But a lot of his spots are, and it's again really
Yeah.
unique. The work he does, and again, another one I can't wait to have over. It'll be his first time over here, and they've made him champion for a reason. You don't just become a champion in Dragon Gate. You have to have something extra special about you. And again, I can't wait to present him to the UK fans.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about those three individuals as we look at some of the matches that have already been announced for 2024. And we've also got some exclusive matches that we'll be announcing here live on Wrestling with Johners over the course of the interview. Another big development that's going to be happening in 2024 in conjunction with the partnership with Dragon Gate and your 2024 lineup is Recast. And you're going to be streaming live and on demand through Recast. Tell us a little bit about that. A really, really exciting development. Back in the day, I was used to getting the 4FW DVDs. But now you could watch it all on demand and streaming as well. So tell us a bit about that, Dave.
Well, they reached out to me because of the 4FW stuff previously, and they like the idea of what I'm trying to do. And they got quite a big market in Japan as well, so that can work out quite handy. Give the fans in Japan opportunity, because the amount of DVDs that we sold in Japan.
Wow.
So it'd be a good opportunity for them to watch it live. Obviously, time differences and stuff. So, it's just it's something I didn't take advantage of before. Yeah, we produced DVDs, but there were shows that we didn't film. We had phenomenal talent over, and we didn't make the most of it because once that show's finished, the income didn't continue on the shows we didn't film. So it's something I want to make sure that, and again, it's probably another reason why we didn't take that next step when everyone else was sort of growing and getting a bigger name. I think we lacked, and it weren't for a case of not trying. We got let down from a lot of people. We tried multiple different people, and nothing seemed to click. We didn't have an in-house crew that did it, so it was always relying on other people. And then we'd have a show booked. They might be booked elsewhere, and then you start looking for somebody else, and maybe that didn't quite work out. So we never really got a set crew in place, and that is one of the issues, I think, for not taking that bigger step forward. So this is something I really want to focus on this time.
Yeah.
And
go on, please carry on.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I was going to say. Go on, Dave.
I just want to really push out the product to the online market, and because I think we do offer a really good product. We did offer a really good product, but it was to get those eyes on it. You have to be streaming online. You have to have it available for the fans to see. Else, you become an unknown. You're sort of hidden. You're hidden away, and it's something I really want to focus on.
Yeah, and one thing that really struck me when I went to the 4FW shows was the level of presentation, the production values, the lights, the whole razzmatazz, and you kind of, I'm guessing that you're looking to bring back that same level and professionalism regarding the production values, and the whole presentation in the live shows.
Yeah, probably not for October, because I think again I've got to bed myself into this, because I don't just hire things in. I get involved. I set things up. I get involved, so I don't want to add too much pressure to myself for October. because it is stressful promoting, and when you got all these other bits on top, things go wrong. The more things you bring in, the more things can go wrong, and it's more pressure. So I don't want to add that pressure to myself for October, but I just want to bed myself in gently for October and then start applying these things from January onwards. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the shows that are set to take place in January then. And it all kicks off, and you mentioned it, we alluded to it earlier on, Battle Kingdom from the Denery Theatre in Swindon. And I believe this is the location there, a beautiful looking theatre, beautiful looking venue, where Brit King Pro are going to be presenting its first show of 2024. Tell us a little bit about the venue, because I believe that is quite possibly a brand new venue to yourself, and yourself as a promoter, Dave.
So obviously I was running Mecca in Swindon before, which is a really nice venue. As the pandemic was coming to an end, the owner of the venue was trying to get me to run, but I didn't feel comfortable running shows where people had to wear masks, and the atmosphere wouldn't be there. So I was like, I'm not ready to run yet. Once it all calms down, I'll run again. And he actually got another promotion in there. So when decided to come back, I was speaking to 3 different venues. And as soon as I went and visited this venue, I just fell in love with it. It's so good. Such a nice venue. The acoustics in it is going to be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And really beautiful looking venue. And a couple of the matches that have already been announced for Battle Kingdom. And the first match is an exclusive match that you're happy to announce here on Wrestling with Johners. It's going to be Tiger Ali versus Eddie Ryan. So tell us a little bit about this match here. These two, I'm sure, have had their battles before, and two of the very best in the UK. Tiger Ali, I'm kind of a huge supporter of Tiger Ali for various reasons. I've seen him in some amazing matches that will live with me forever. Very much kind of hasn't really branched out as much as I would have hoped, but certainly one of the best wrestlers in the UK, and coming onto more and more people's radars all the time. That match against Eddie will be a banger, won't it?
Yeah, again, both have come through the training school. The stuff they did previously was really good. So with the extra experience, again, Eddie sort of went off and branched out and made a really big name for himself. I just want to see what they can do now. And it should be really good. Again, Ali doesn't get on as many shows as he should do. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's not really clicky, I suppose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you'll always get 100% out of him. He's a really nice guy, and I don't know why he's not everywhere. But it'd be good if he could sort of branch out like Eddie did and make a bigger name for it, because he should be seen everywhere. But again, that's one of the plans this time as well. Not so much. It's not that he said, "Oh, can I run this and try and get my name out there?" I know how good he is, so if I can help him get his name out there through this, because some of the matches he did have was absolutely phenomenal, and I don't know why more promotions didn't check him out or give him a chance. Like, give him a chance, and you'll see how good he is.
Yeah. Well, wasn't he flown out to Mexico and main evented against Ultimo Dragon in front of thousands of people?
Yeah, 20,000 fans in Mexico in the main event. And again, he probably worked more abroad than he has in the UK for different promotions. And it's bonkers to think that you've got a talent in this country that is unique, that doesn't get the bookings that he should do.
Yeah,
he tries to reach out there, but I don't know. Maybe there's a disconnect somewhere. I don't know what that is, but I've always had a bad rep, I suppose, of not reaching out to people or being more approachable, and that's my personality. I like to keep myself to myself, and like most people won't even know what I look like for FW fans previously.
Yeah, until now.
I didn't put myself out there and I think maybe he's the same way. He doesn't necessarily reach out, but I think his work, people should be approaching him because he stands out.
Yeah, one of the best talents in the UK for sure.
Yeah.
And then what I think is going to be the main event of your first show back in Swindon, or quite possibly one of the main events, Shun Skywalker versus Dragon Kid. Now, I know that you personally must be very excited for this matchup and what sort of display, what sort of exhibition they're going to put in front of the fans in Swindon at the Dennery Theatre. This is going to be, like I say, a wonderful match to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And this again, it's a new venue for us. We've got to come back with a bang to try and make sure get new fans and previous fans from before get into a different venue, but offering them something that's different. It's different at that match. I don't know. It's a match that, if we get them into the venue, it's going to blow them away, and it sets us up for what we do moving forward.
Absolutely.
I think you have to present something that they wouldn't necessarily get a chance to see without going to Japan, and something that is going to get them out of their seats. And like again, the local fans might not necessarily know who they are, but they will do once that show's finished, and then once we do things moving forward. Once we announce there's a Dragon Gate guy on there, they're going to be excited for it.
Oh,
because
yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
when you're promoting locally, they don't necessarily know these bigger names. So, but our plan is once they're in that building, once they see it, they'll be asking for us to bring talent like that back, and then eventually we can start putting our guys in with them, and again try and build it like we did for FW, I suppose.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a busy weekend because you got that show on the Saturday, and then the very next day you've got New Year Resolution, Sunday the 14th of January, and that is going to be Churchdown again, Gloucester, possibly the same venue as your opening show in just a few weeks' time. Nothing so far announced for that show, but I know the day before you will have crowned your first ever Brit King Pro heavyweight champion, so I'm sure that we'll see an appearance from him on Resolution.
Yeah, and the Dragon Gate guys are on that show too. We will be announcing matches. Obviously, we want to get this October Churchdown show wrapped up, and then we'll start announcing matches for Gloucester in January.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at two more shows that you got taking place also in the month of January, I believe. Now, the first one is going to be from the Oxford Academy, Beechcroft Hall, Kingdom Royale, Saturday, the 20th of January. There's the official poster. I've got to say, Dave, and I'm going to big you up here, the artwork is pretty damn amazing. All your handiwork, of course. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We've got 4 matches already announced, and I think one, or at least one of these is an exclusive. The first match that I think is already out on your socials is Wild Boar Mike Hitchman versus Sami Zayn. That is going to be a fantastic contest. We spoke earlier about Sami versus Jay Joshua, and I think Sami versus Wild Boar is going to be another one of them fast-paced, hard-hitting matches that you have to be there to witness.
Yeah, again, Sami underutilized in the UK. I know how good that match is going to be, and people might not have seen Sami before, might be thinking, could have put Wild Boar in, but once they actually witness this match, Sami is phenomenal. He's up there with those guys. Do you know what I mean? But he hasn't had the eyes on him that he probably should have. And again, it's one of those. I don't know why, but this time we're going to try and correct that and make people see how good he is by giving him these matches.
I remember seeing Sami against, I think it was Juventud Guerrera several years ago, probably 2015 now, at the Mecca, and a great match that those two put on. I think he must have been really, really young at the time, but a great match and a great show. Now, I mentioned that we might have 1 or 2 exclusives. We had one earlier on. Another exclusive for the show in Oxford is going to be Niwa versus the English Lion, Eddie Ryan. These two know each other very, very well. They've been up and down the road many, many times. Niwa has been plying his trade on a full-time basis in the UK for the last year or so. One of the trainers at Joel Redmond's school, All-Star Wrestling South. But two phenomenal heavyweights here, and they need little introduction, to be honest with you, Dave. But these two, I think, are going to put on a masterclass of a match over in Oxford, aren't they?
Yeah, I've only just come across Niwa's work, but he looks like a wrestler. He looks good. Eddie's bigged him up to me as well. So yeah, I really look forward to that match. Again, I've only just come across his stuff. Just by watching his stuff, he definitely stands out, and that's what I like to try and present. Something a little different. Talent that stand out, given an opportunity, and put on match. I want to see heavyweight wrestling. There's a lack of it, and it'd be good to watch a hard hitting heavyweight wrestling match.
Yeah, sure. I think I first had exposure to Niwa, I think, at a Progress show back in 2018 or 2019. But before that, he obviously plied his trade in New Zealand for many years, and then he spent a number of years over in Mexico, CMLL, before coming over here to the UK. So he's world travelled, and he is legitimately the real deal.
Again, he'll add something different, and that's what I want to present. Something different.
What about this one here then, Dave? The Stallion, Chris Bronson against Brian Kendrick. Now, Brian Kendrick is going to pop up a little bit later on, but a huge name over in North America, former WWE, former TNA, of course. What Brian Kendrick hasn't done isn't worth speaking about, to be honest with you. One of the most experienced pros in the business going up against the Stallion. I think these two, once again, is going to put on a fantastic match in Oxford next year, 2024.
Yeah, again, when Bronson started coming through the school, he was getting opportunities. Again, there was plans to send him to All Japan, to the dojo to train. But because obviously everything happened from 2020, he didn't get the opportunities that he probably should have. So he'd probably be even further along had he got those opportunities presented to. So imagine how good he is now. Imagine how good he could have been. As soon as he stepped foot in that training school, there was something about him. You just instantly knew he's got something about him. And if I wish I was able to give him those opportunities over the last 4 years, because Christ knows where he'd be right now.
Yeah. And Brian Kendrick is a big name to bring over as well, Dave. Brian Kendrick, a big name, a big connection, and someone that's really going to add something to Brit King Pro.
But he does stuff with NXT, with the guys in NXT, right? So if he can pass on whatever knowledge and fill his Bronson's head with as much knowledge as possible that he probably previously didn't get during that period, if he can add those things that Brian Kendrick's going to teach him in the match and in the seminar, and he can add it to what he does, I think, again, we've got a really good talent on our hands in this country.
Absolutely. We got a couple more matches to talk about, but what is likely to be one of the main event matches for that show in Oxford on the 20th of January is this one here. Shun Skywalker versus Madoka Kikuta. This is going to be, we spoke earlier about Shun versus Dragon Kid, but this match is going to be another one of those matches that you kind of have to be there to witness with your own eyes. It's going to be a match that you're going to be talking about with your mates for weeks, if not months afterwards, aren't you?
Yeah, so Kikuta won the bout from Shun Skywalker, and that got rated the Dragon Gate match of the year. So that tells you how good that match is going to be. This Dragon Gate match of the year. So again, it's a match that we get to put on in the United Kingdom, and it's a rare opportunity to see these two that put on Dragon Gate match of the year. So imagine what they're going to do over here, and again, the opportunity to put it on. Yeah. And with this venue as well, this Oxford venue, we was actually going to run it side by side with the Swindon venue with the same setup and stuff like that. So I don't know if you remember when we was bringing Cody Rhodes in.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out twice. So the two times we tried to run that venue, we still drew really well, but obviously everything changed. So I think there's so much potential in that venue that we didn't get to utilize when we were trying previously. So hopefully this time nothing goes wrong and we get a chance to actually put on an amazing show in this venue.
Absolutely. And the final show we're going to talk about for now anyway is this one here, Kingdom of Glory, Sunday the 21st of January from the Arrow Vale Sports Centre in Redditch. And here is the venue here, a beautiful venue. I believe possibly the first time you've used this venue as well, Dave, but a great venue for a wrestling audience and a great venue for Brit King Pro.
Yeah. It's quite an intimate venue. So it's 250 seats, but I like the layout of it. So with a setup in there, really looking forward to running that venue. There's something unique about it. So.
Absolutely. And the final match we're going to talk about from that same show is going to be this one here. This is possibly an exclusive once again, Tiger Ali versus Maduka Kikuta. And we kind of praised Tiger Ali earlier and the same for Kikuta, but these two get an opportunity to clash. And let's just bring up the poster again. That's going to be Sunday the 21st of January in Redditch at that fantastic venue. And like I say, another match worth the price of admission alone. That's the only match we've got announced so far for that show. On the strength of that one match graphic, that should be enough to do very well for your ticket sales. But tell us a bit about what sort of a match we can expect between those two in particular.
Again, it's just it's going to be unique, and it's a match that's going to stand out. It's not often you're going to get these kind of matches in this country, but again, it's a chance for Tiger Ali to showcase what he can do. I've seen loads of his matches in Japan, Tiger Ali, and the way he works with like the Japanese talent. Again, I'm really looking forward to this. Got a real chance to stand out, and again, hopefully goes back to the office. The Dragon Gate guys say how much they enjoyed it and how good the talent are, and again progress what we're trying to achieve with the partnership. So it's not just one-sided, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. But we spoke very briefly about 6 fantastic shows, the 2 in October and the 4 in January. You've got shows already on sale for February, but we won't talk about them at this time anyway. But those 6 shows that we've just highlighted, fantastic shows, amazing talent, fantastic talent coming over from Dragon Gate as well, and some of the finest UK talent as well. So congratulations, you've kind of got the makings of what should be 6 amazing shows. You must be very proud with what you've already announced then, Dave.
Again, it's sort of off the back of what I did previously, which I think went under the radar a little bit. And again, the amount of Japanese talent we had over that we ran, we put on in the smaller shows that didn't maybe get the eyes. So like Katara Suzuki against Tiger Ali, like a phenomenal match. Again, wasn't filmed for reasons that I'm going to try and prevent for this time. And it's matches that these guys were having, not just Tiger Ali, Sammy, a lad we had called Antonio De Luca, Eddie Ryan, all the matches they had with us previously that aren't out there. I get a chance to showcase that again with more experience from my side as well, promoting, and their side for what they've learned over the years. So Absolutely. Stuff we were doing in 2009, imagine 2023 with all the experience they've got. So really looking
very
forward to
exciting. It. Very exciting. A question that came through earlier before we went live, and it's from ring announcer friend of mine, Jake Pugh. And Jake asks, what are your goals or plans for British Kingdom Pro Wrestling for the future? So obviously we've kind of mapped out certainly October and January going into 2024. Do you have like a bigger vision or bigger plans for Brit King Pro further down the line, or as we head further into 2024 maybe?
Yeah, so I want to create work in partnerships with different promotions around Europe Mexico, America, and obviously we've already announced the one in Japan. I want to bring. I think I always had a good eye for talent. Like when I was bringing in Kenny Omega or Prince Devitt before they blew up, I was bringing these names in, and I think there's so many talent that are wrestling abroad that don't maybe have the eyes on them. So I want to be able to maybe bring them over here before they're known, and also try and get our talent out to those places too. And so it's not just about what's happening here. I want to try and make a bigger thing and connect. Again, previously I probably didn't connect with as many people as I should have. It's not because I'm ignorant or anything like that. It's just I stay in my own little bubble. I'm not really a social person, so but I want to try and do that a bit more this time. Reach out, build partnerships, build relationships, and give opportunities to our guys, not just our guys coming through the school, talent that we bring in to wrestle on the shows, to give them an opportunity to maybe go abroad. And it's not just about what we're doing. I want to try and build a community, I suppose, amongst different promotions in different areas and give people opportunities.
Absolutely.
I think the time is right for that sort of thing, especially with, I suppose, the bigger companies signing talent left, right, and centre. You always need fresh talent, and I think there's plenty of talent abroad as well that could be seen over here that maybe might not get the opportunity. But again, if I didn't take the chance on all these talents that I brought over before they were bigger names, they might not have returned the favour later down the line, like Kenny Omega. When I was in a hole with with Cody Rhodes, like literally within 48 hours, we'd sorted something out and managed to bring him on a show to replace Cody. Had I not brought him over when less people knew him, like that might not have happened when his name had already blown up. You know what I mean? So just totally. finding the talents and bringing them over before people maybe know who they are, and to see where it grows from there.
Let's talk a bit about the dojo now then, Brit King Pro Dojo, because I believe it officially opened back in April, if I'm not mistaken. And you're the head coach, head trainer there, as you were with 4FW, of course. How good is it for you to be back training, back coaching again, doing what you love after a few years of not doing that, Dave?
I missed it. The amount of people that were telling me, asking, when are you going to open a school? Can you please open a school? And I wasn't necessarily, because obviously I wrestled for a little bit. I wasn't like a great wrestler, but I definitely got eye for talent and eye for training. And even though I didn't really have a long wrestling career, I learned. I continue to learn, and every time I brought someone in, I'd be watching, I'd be learning. So I'm progressing too, even though I'm not wrestling on the shows. I'm taking every single thing in that they're teaching. And students, maybe when they're at seminars, they don't necessarily take in all these things because they're doing it as well. Where I'm sort of stepping back, watching, I take it in and I soak it up like a sponge. And I suppose I miss it. I miss producing talent, and I have produced like a lot of talent, and I think I could continue that. And with Benham and Sammy on board, who think like I think, and again have the eye for detail, I think we've got a really good chance to produce more talent. But I sort of not necessarily into the anyone can train type mentality as well, and I think that's why we produced good talent, because if you couldn't hack the warm-ups, if you couldn't hack certain things we did, you get to bring the best through because the best stick it out, if that makes sense. And I we sort of want to try that again. I think there's a little bit of that missing in British wrestling. I think there's quite an easy road in, and I don't think it should be that easy. because when I first, I wanted it to be harder. Like it was too easy. But all the stories I read, the books I read, it was hard. Like so when I was training and coming through, I was like, why is it not hard? I don't understand. I've read all this stuff. It should be hard because it is hard. If you're getting an easy path in, you're going to have a massive shock later on down the line because it is hard. So to be ready for that, you have to train hard. You have to train hard. And I sort of want to keep that mentality that we had with 4FW and use it with British Kingdom Pro as well. And I know there is a lot of that now, like I'll let anybody should fit in. I don't necessarily think that's true. Not in a nasty way. It's because it is hard. And but I think you bring the best people through that way.
Yeah.
So I'd rather 10 really good and they commit and put the time in, are in the gym, than having, say, 30 that don't necessarily. Does that make sense?
Totally get it.
Yeah.
And here's the facilities. Now this is a bit of a before and after. And like I say, I'm sure that the facility, the unit is progressing all the time. I absolutely love the mural, the artwork on the black wall at the back there. But tell us a little bit about the unit. Tell us a bit about the facilities and what it in particular has to offer.
Well, it's the same place that we actually ran before, but I wanted to put a bit more effort into it this time. So it's not just in ring training, you've got the mats on the outside. But we've got a bit of exercise equipment and it will progress, it'll keep progressing as we go, but I want it to be a facility where everything's there that you need to become a professional wrestler. And but that will keep developing as we're going. It's really expensive to set up. So we need to try and obviously claw money back before we start putting back in. But not bad for a starting point. And I tried to, what was missing from when I ran it before, and tried to add that this time. So again, something that I keep progressing as we're going.
Absolutely. And I understand you've got training sessions every, let's see, I think you've got 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays and Thursdays for the adults, and you've got Young Lions training sessions on Saturdays, Dave. So tell us a little bit about that, because you train 3 times a week with the kind of the seniors and juniors at the weekends.
Yeah, so we were doing Sundays, but because I suppose there's so many classes, it was disjointed. You'd have multiple people turn up at Monday, maybe too tired to train the next day, then they'd come the Thursday, and then maybe not on the Sunday. So what we did is we withdrew the Sunday session, and as we start filling up the Monday, Wednesday, and the Thursday, and then we will reopen the Sunday session for the adults. But the plan is that, again, the more we get, the better they get. We'll open on a Saturday for them and give them as much training as possible and like value for their money. Because I suppose when I first started running full-time training, we was charging £45 a month, and now you're sort of where we are in the world now, charging £75 a month. I want to try and make sure that that's value for their money. Yeah. I know 45 to 75 now, we're in completely different times, but in my head, it's like, that's a big jump up. But I want to offer as much as they can handle, I suppose. But what I don't want is an empty session one day, full another day. I want to try and get the trainees that can train certain days, filling up those sessions, and then I'll open up more as we go. Absolutely. And with the junior session on Saturday, again, Tiger Ali, Sammy, they actually came through our junior sessions that we're doing. So if we hadn't ran them, we might not have those. But Sammy actually runs those sessions. Again, full of character. The kids absolutely love him. And again, if we can produce the next lot of talent, because even talent that aren't around nowadays that we were bringing through, come through that junior session, like Owen Phoenix, Volkan Aslan. These are guys that would have been really, really good, but they all come through our junior sessions. So we don't want to neglect that. So we made sure that we were running a junior session as well.
And I've got some pictures of the team. There's obviously Benham or Tiger Ali over on the left hand side. I think that's yourself that he's got his arm
me,
around.
midget.
In the middle there, definitely recognise Sammy and Chris Bronson and Nathan Bain on the far right there. So a good little team. And there's a closer look at the facility. Like I say, I think the colours of the unit just really pop and make it more fun. But like I say, a good little setup there and a good little team behind you with Tiger and with Sammy helping you out. I mean, are you looking to kind of develop the dojo or maybe your sessions even further, or maybe add more people to your team, more coaches?
Yeah. Definitely as we go. Obviously, I'd do seminars as well. Again, Eddie come through us. He's got his own training school. As we develop our trainees, we'll start bringing in people like Eddie to run seminars and stuff like that, because he knows how I tick.
Yeah.
So he'll sort of know what I want, but he can give them stuff that he's learned along the way. And but yeah, we'll definitely be adding as we go. But at the moment, it's because I think previously we had a lot of people travel to us, but there's more schools open now, so the likelihood of that happening this time around isn't like it was previously. So it's something we will have to promote more locally, because we have people move from like Italy, like Antonio De Luca moved from Italy, trained with us, and I don't know if that's going to be, because most countries will have their own training facilities now. But again, with the shows, you'll build a reputation, and then hopefully people see what we do and they think, I want to train now, I want to be involved. And but I think we do a really high standard of training. And I think as it grows and as it develops, I think along with the shows, I think it'd do really good.
And something else that is quite exciting and another exclusive for Wrestling with Johners is you have an open day for the dojo, Sunday the 3rd of December, between the hours of 10:30 and 2:30 that day at the dojo, I'm guessing, Dave. And tell us a little bit about the open day and what you're hoping to achieve from that.
That's correct. Again, show students that maybe train elsewhere that might want to come check it out, like show them what we offer, and give them another option. It's also if talent want to come down to it, because I'm not going to go to shows and scout talent maybe like I did previously. So it's an opportunity if people wanted to come down and show what they can do. Like I'll be watching, and it'll be a foot in the door. We've got lots of exciting things coming up. I think we're going to be quite an exciting promotion to want to work for. But again, I'm not going to be out on the road checking out other shows. So it's an opportunity for maybe people, along with new students, and trainees that train elsewhere, if they want to pop along, but also workers if they want to get seen by us. I'm not saying they necessarily do, but it's an opportunity if they want to. But I think when promotions done things like that before, it'd be sort of an open day, but we charge you money to attend. And it's like, well, if you're looking for talent, why are you charging? Like you get them to come down so you can actually see the talent. So it's not a money making scheme. I actually want to find talent. So if talent want to come down and join in with the open day, see what we offer, and see if they can maybe be a part of the product. Absolutely. So ideally local promotion to get new students in. If students train elsewhere, if they want to come and see what we do, and again, if talent want to come along and showcase what they can do, we'll be watching. So
how can they get in touch? How can they be a part of that, Dave?
Just through the email, which is through the website, contact@britishkingdompro.com. And if they want to join in and be a part of it and showcase what they do, again, I think it's a good way of, if you've got a good friend who's local to you, and maybe if you want to come, you want to branch out, it's a bit of fuel money to get there, and you get a chance to be looked at. And again, I might try and get Eddie Ryan down, who's got his training school. He's going to be running academy shows, and again, get eyes on you that you might not necessarily get, because I've had it since we've started British Kingdom Pro. The amount of emails I've had and messages I've had saying, like, asking for work, like, this would probably be the best way for me to actually book you, because I can actually see you in person rather than watching a video or reading your CV. So
good point.
Yeah, so that'll be the plan. We will obviously push it out more as we go. And again, I think the shows we're going to be running and the setup we're going to have, I think people should want to be a part of it. And this would be the easiest way to be looked at.
And we mentioned these three individuals earlier, but you've got some very exciting seminars lined up for 2024 as well. You've got Dragon Kid doing his seminar, and that's going to be Friday the 12th of January. You've got Sean Skywalker Wednesday the 17th of January, and the very next day, Thursday the 18th of January, with Brian Kendrick. So three awesome opportunities once again for your current trainees, or anybody that might be interested in popping down to have a seminar with any one of those three awesome talents.
Yeah, and like Sean Skywalker is actually here for a week, so I have been going back and forth about maybe a week-long camp. Again, with Sean Skywalker, which we've done week-long camps previously, and they've gone down really well. Again, if the interest is there, it's something that we could potentially do while he's over. But we want, like, Brian Kendrick's going to offer something a little different. Dragon Kid actually is the trainer at the Dragon Gate Dojo.
Wow.
So again, if that's somewhere you want to get to, like, there's no better opportunity than being seen by the guy that's running the dojo. But yeah, three different seminars. I know both of those are from Dragon Gate, Sean Skywalker and Dragon Kid, but I think they're going to offer something different. Sean Skywalker spent a lot of time in Mexico, so there'll be different aspects that they'll be teaching. And but we always ran lots of seminars, lots of different seminars, from Juventud to DDP to quite loads, so many, and they're all different. So you learn something from each of these people, and that's how you become a better professional wrestler. So, but the opportunity's there. We're presenting it, and if people are interested, again, via the website, just get in contact.
Absolutely. And I think you said that was contacts at British
Kingdom Pro.
KingdomPro.com.
Yeah. Contact at BritishKingdomPro.com.
There we go. We'll make sure the link to that is in the description to this show. So just click on that or go straight to the website or through any of their socials, and that'll take you straight to the website, and go to the contacts page to show your interest. Now, as I said at the top of the interview, Dave, I was a bit of a 4FW fan, lived and worked in Swindon for many years, saw a number of 4FW shows at the Mecca. Always a great occasion, always great matches and great shows put together. But I want to take a little bit of a fun trip down memory lane now, and I've got some pictures, and for those that remember, that was the kind of, well, I think that was probably the second incarnation of the logo. But so many awesome shows. I'm going to bring up some show graphics here, some show posters. Obviously, Carlito there, Shelton Benjamin, Kenny Omega, who helped you out of a hole when Cody Rhodes kind of dropped out on you. And I know Kenny did a couple of shows for you, I think about 3 shows for you. John Morrison there, Ted DiBiase, Ultimo Dragon. Tiger Ali had a tremendous match against Omega. And of course, I was at this show here when Alberto Del Rio, or El Patron, versus Rey Mysterio, a brilliant match. And so many awesome memories, so many awesome cards and talent that came down. Yeah, there's bringing back some good memories for you there, Dave.
Yeah, and stress. Like a few stories, like the Pentagon Jr. and Drago we had on with Kenny Omega, and the amount of stress. Something happened with their flight, so we had to book. So their flight was expensive, both of them. So we had to book another flight just to make sure they were there, and it was so close to them actually being at the venue.
No.
So, but it was spend a few more thousand or let people down, and the amount of stress, like people wouldn't know because obviously they performed on the night, but the amount of stress to get that show to happen was that's where the cracks started happening, the stress levels. Same with Rey Mysterio, and so we was actually going to do Rey Mysterio versus Kenny Omega, and we had Del Rio booked on another show in Reading in a venue we was going to run, and so after we announced Rey Mysterio, I was speaking to Kenny, he was really up for it, and then I got told it had to be Rey versus Del Rio. Oh. So there was 2 shows of income that then merged into one show. And again, that's where the stress really started to kick in. Again, so I've been doing this since 2004, 2005, and it took to that point. So what that had been like 10 years later, just after, the cracks started to happen. The amount of stress that was put upon me running those kind of shows. So it's all good for the fans, I suppose. They get to see the talent, but the amount of stress that goes.
No wonder you've given yourself 4 years off to recover.
yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm doing those shows in October, just to make sure my ticker can handle it. So.
But then having to work with talent like John Morrison, for example, Jonathan Gresham was probably 10 years ago now. Fergal Devitt, Prince Devitt, before, like you say, before he exploded.
I booked him on
so many more.
Actually booked him on MySpace. I kept messaging him.
No way.
So I was watching his stuff in Japan, and before he went to like New Japan, he was running shows, and he reached out to like book me on one of his shows that he was running. It never materialized, but I always remembered his name, and I started watching his stuff in New Japan, and I just messaged him on MySpace, and he said, like, because you don't like have pictures of yourself everywhere. You're probably not so much of a fanboy, I suppose, and so I managed to book him through MySpace, and same with Kenny Omega. I managed to book him on Facebook because there wasn't pictures of myself plastered everywhere. We're this, we're that. So you sort of saw that as, I suppose, not being egotistical. You could probably speak to me and deal with me rather than I'm this and I'm that. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's helped me out as well as being a detriment to moving 4FW forward.
And I was also at the show at the Mecca when you had X-Pac down, and he was involved in that 6-man main event. And I kind of saw him in the meet and greet before the show as well. Really, really nice, down-to-earth, friendly guy. Such a tremendous talent. I think it's probably 2015, doing some wonderful things. And that was also the same show where you had Will Ospreay versus Mark Haskins, and that was the first time that I saw Will in the flesh. And I think the following week those two were involved in Progress Super Strong Style, and I think Will probably won the championship not long after Progress. But yeah, like I say, you've introduced me to a lot of wonderful UK talent, and like I say, that show including X-Pac, that was a good show.
Yeah. Minus X-Pac. He's probably one of the ones I didn't enjoy.
Oh, really?
Having over. Yeah, just little things that were agreed upon beforehand and changed as it was going. I didn't like that. I sort of like to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Let the fans know what they can expect at, say, the meet and greets, and things not to change as we're going along. So yeah, that's probably one of the not too keen on that one.
Yeah.
But we've had lots of names over where, really good, really nice. They actually put the effort in and go that little extra mile for you. But that was one of the few, actually. There was only a few that I weren't too keen on, and that was one of them.
Yeah. And
just from the second we picked him up, to the actual show.
I might speak to you after this about an American wrestler that I got to pick up from the airport in a couple of months' time, and just how to handle him. But I mean, I think probably about that same year, I saw an absolutely amazing match, and it will live with me forever. Tiger Ali versus Doug Williams. And I think Doug was a champion. I think Doug retained the championship, but that match just had all the drama, had all the action.
Was that on the
I think
Ray
you had
show? The Rey
three
Mysterio
kings on the
show?
outside. That was at the Mecca.
Yeah,
I think,
the Rey Mysterio show. I think that was.
yes, same show.
That's one of my favorite matches. Like the
Yeah.
storytelling, crowd involvement. Honestly, it's
Yeah,
it's one of my
favourite matches ever. And I spoke to Tiger Ali a couple of days later, and he just underplayed it as if it was just another day at the office. And no, seriously, it's one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I told Doug as well a couple of years later, and just tremendous match.
Yeah, that's one of my, out of all the shows matches that we put on, that's definitely up there with the best one that we put on.
Absolutely,
it had everything that wrestling is. That it was in that match. So.
What other fond memories do you have of 16 years of 4FW then? And you kind of spoke there about some of your favourite and not so favourite memories of 4FW, but there must be some other highlights for you, Dave.
Bringing the talent through. Did you ever see Antonio DeLuca?
Yes.
It saddens me like how bring him through. He has WWE tryout and he's perfect for that company. And when it didn't work out, it sort of knocks your confidence. And he's someone I miss like a lot, and he had so much to give. Like when you bring wrestlers through and you know people have got it, sort of Bronson, you can see they've got it, and when they don't do it any longer. So one of my fondest moments are bringing the talent through, and you can see the potential in them, but it just doesn't quite happen. Like, did you ever see Owen Phoenix?
I believe, I believe so. Yeah.
So he was 16, and he had a New Japan tryout, like passed the tryout, and they said no, come back when you're 18. And then a few days later, he had a WWE tryout in Japan, and they said, look, we're never going to sign you at 18. Just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll see you later on down the line. But he took that as a no, and that played on him. And then that's what stopped him from carrying on wrestling. But I suppose it's one of those, wrestling is tough. You've got to go. I think you've got to be brought through it hard to be ready for these knockbacks and these disappointments.
Yeah.
But just bringing these talents through, knowing that there's something there, that they can definitely do something with it, and it not quite materializing. But in my head, I know it hasn't materialized because they're so young. But we're in a generation of, I want it now. Yeah. Give it to me now. And it's like it's sad. It's sad. Like, I've seen a lot of talent that have so much potential that they get these opportunities, they get these knockbacks, but instead of pushing forward and saying, like, I'm going to try harder, I'm going to improve my physique, I'm going to learn more, they take that as a no because they want that instant I suppose fame, gratification, reward, reward. And life's not like that. So maybe that's something that I'm going to add to the training this time, just to let them know it's not easy. Like, you train hard, but that is the easy part. Once you start trying to get to that next level, that's where the hard part is, because there's only so many people that can be signed.
Yeah.
So you have to be something more than everybody else. So, but I feel I'm going to try and instill that this time, because especially for the young ones that come through, that it's not going to be easy. You are going to receive knockbacks. It's how you approach that, is because I think I think a lot of the young guys miss out on it's about the journey. Once you get to the destination, all your stories about the journey, you'll care less about the actual destination, because it then becomes a job, repetitive, and do you know what I mean? All your memories are going to be the journey to get there. So why not enjoy that? And if you get told no, push forward. And I think, again, something I'm going to really push, because I've lost really good talent because of situations like that.
Yeah. Thinking more about the wrestling products now, and what elements or values of 4FW are you going to try and take forward and maybe instill into your new product?
I don't. Again, if you look back through all our match cards and stuff, the presentation, wrestlers look like wrestlers. Not one of them looked the same. And it's been kind of hard trying to find talent this time, because a lot of people look the same. It's cookie cutter. So it's a production line, and they're all looking the same. So it's hard for them to stand out. So I want to try, and anyone I'm bringing in, is I feel they stand out, not just to everyone else. They stand out to whoever else we're already bringing in.
Yeah.
And I think look wise, getting in the gym, ring attire, like if you look back through our past, everyone that we used looked good. And so we give the presentation on the show. We want you, the talent, to give us the presentation trying to sell the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'll be taking that and using it here, because that's my core belief anyway. Like, as I grew up, I've watched wrestling since the age of 6. I know what appeals, what looks good. So even if you are great but you don't look too great, it's hard to sell that on your posters, on your match cards. So I think it's all part and parcel. I think you've got to look good. So anyone I'm going to be bringing in is because I feel they look good. They look different. They look unique, which in turn is going to make the product look good and look unique.
Good point.
And again, we're trying to make them feel like stars on the actual shows.
Yeah.
So if you help us sell it with the way you look and your presentation, we give you the presentation on the show to feel like a star or be a star.
Absolutely. So we had another question that came through before we went live, and it's from Richie, friend of the show. What people in wrestling have you looked up to that may have inspired you during your years in the business? So whether that be as a wrestler or as a promoter, as a coach, are there any individuals out there in the business that have really inspired you, or that you've really looked up to and admired?
Yeah, I'd say UK wise, probably Mark Sloan. The presentation of everything he did, he cared. And if you were going to one of his shows, you were going to get a show. The talent were going to be exceptional, but you knew what you was getting with him. And Ultimo Dragon, he's one of the guys that sort of the wrestling ring's their stage. The wrestlers that you have on, it's their stage. So if your stage looks like shit, you're giving them a shit stage for them to perform on. So that really stuck with me, and that's when I did a rebrand. I did the red corner, blue corner. I did the corner flags. It looks, and you know it's our show. As soon as you see it on a picture or on a video, you know it's our show. And again, it's just using my brain, looking around, seeing what else is going on. And I couldn't differentiate between each promotion. You can now. I think your Progress, you can see that's them. Rev Pro, you can see that's them. But before that, there was a ring in a hall, and you didn't know who was who. Without putting your logo on the pictures, you couldn't tell who was who. So Ultimate Dragon, I suppose, taught me that is important. And again, people knew it was us. As soon as those pictures were put out there, even if they'd never been to one of our shows, they knew it was us, and they in their heads they believed it was professional because of what you were showing them. Even though they've never been there, they could tell instantly that it was a professional product.
Yeah,
and that's something that I want to continue.
Absolutely. Now, as
perception is reality.
Yeah, you're totally right, and like I say, branding is everything as well, even in the wrestling business. But as we start to wind down this brilliant interview with Dave Sharp, just a quick reminder once again about my next two guests, and of course, next Monday, the 25th of September, we got Kamikaze coming onto the show, and that same week, Thursday the 28th. I've got the Stallion, Chris Bronson, current Southwest Wrestling heavyweight champion, and can't wait to speak to Kamikaze and the Stallion next week. But Dave, it's been awesome chatting to you about British Kingdom Professional Wrestling, Brit King Pro, and the dojo as well, and about the shows we have to look forward to. If there's one more kind of like a hard sell, I suppose you could say, or one more reason why we should be getting tickets for those October shows in particular. Is there anything you'd like to say to my viewers and listeners at home as to why they should be getting down to them two shows in October?
We're going to offer something I think is different compared to what everyone else is offering. And if you're a fan of heavyweight wrestling, you're going to get actual heavyweight wrestling. You're going to get people that wrestlers that look the part, present themselves well, solid matches. Because I've taken that time away, I've looked at what might be different to what everyone else is doing, and it's going to be a professional product and solid matches throughout. Yeah.
Let's have a quick recap. So for Saturday, the 7th of October from Gloucester, and these matches that have already been announced in the championship tournament. You've got Jay Joshua versus Sami Zayn, Tiger Ali versus Lee Hunter, and of course the Stallion Chris Bronson versus the English Lion Eddie Ryan. And the very next week, the 14th of October, this is going to be from Emerson Green in Bristol. And of course, one match announced already, Jack Selstrom versus Lee Hunter. And of course, 2024, you've got the partnership with Dragon Gate Pro Wrestling. So a very, very exciting future for you. But if any of my viewers or listeners want to get in touch or want to kind of check out Brit King Pro's socials, Dave, where can they do so? I know that you're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, and at Brit King Pro.
Yeah.
Instagram is what was it again?
Well, it's going to because I'm going to have to read it off the screen. It's not as straightforward as the other one.
Kingdom
so it's
Pro
British
wrestling.
Kingdom _Pro _wrestling on
and
Instagram.
Tiger Ali chose that one, so I'll give him a slap.
Here we go. It's scrolling around now. It takes up half the screen. But yeah, I'm going to say check out the socials on Instagram, X or Twitter, and Facebook, of course. And don't forget to go to the website as well.
Check out the website,
BritishKingdomPro.com.
Put a little bit of effort into that, and all the info for everything's on there. Social media links are on there as well. So, and to grab tickets.
To grab tickets and to get in touch, like I say, contact Dave and the team at the Brit King Pro Dojo to show your interest in seminars and the open day. Go ahead, Dave.
And if any talent, again, they're looking for bookings, please contact me through the email, because I've had so many messages on Instagram, Twitter, that it's hard to remember who sent what where. So if everyone that's interested just sends their CV and footage, etc., to the email, that's one place I'm going to set it up so I can go back through and check out everyone that sent me footage and see what happens from there.
But Dave Sharp, like I say, as a fan of 4FW, it's been a bit of a bucket list conversation for me today. But I just want to thank you so much for your time and wish you all the very best with British Kingdom Professional Wrestling in just 3 weeks' time.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.